There is a moment when speaking no longer helps. Explaining doesn't solve anything, and asking only exhausts you. It's when you realize that something needs to change, not outside, but inside. Because money does not respond to desperation, money responds to the mind, and the mind responds to what you do in silence. Today, you will not hear empty promises. You will feel an alignment between God, your mind, and your financial life. But if you leave now, you will keep repeating the same cycle, the same thoughts, the same debts, the same fear of loans that never seem to end. And it was there, at the exact moment when everything seemed stuck, that something began to move. And that's where it all began. He woke up every day with the same feeling. It wasn't sleepiness, it was weight. Weight in the mind, weight in the chest, weight in his financial life. The bills arrived before hope. The money came in and left faster than he could understand. Old loans, debts that never seemed to shrink, and a silent question that hurt more than any bill. Why do I work so hard and stay in the same place? On the outside, he pretended to have control. On the inside, his mind was at war. He didn't believe in these things. Law of attraction? Nonsense. Vibration? Strange talk. God? Too distant to care about money. To him, money was struggle, survival, anxiety. But what he didn't realize was that it wasn't the bank blocking his financial life. It was the mental pattern he repeated every single day without noticing. His mind never stopped, thought on top of thought, fear on top of fear. And every time the mind fell into chaos, money disappeared. Because financial life always follows the mind, always. He talked too much about plans, complained too much about difficulties, thought too much about scarcity. And without realizing it, he was teaching the subconscious to repeat the same result, the same salary, the same lack, the same tightness. The law of attraction was not punishing him, it was simply responding to fear, responding to urgency, responding to a misaligned mind. Until one day, the exhaustion became greater than disbelief, and for the first time, he fell silent. Not to give up, but because something inside him asked for a pause. And in that silence, something breathed. The silence did not come gently, it came strange, uncomfortable. When he stopped talking, the mind began to scream. Old memories, financial mistakes, decisions made in fear, loans taken in haste, debts signed when hope was already weak. Silence brought everything to the surface, because when the noise ends, the truth appears. He realized something hard. It wasn't a lack of money, it was an excess of internal disorder. His mind never rested, and a tired mind cannot sustain prosperity. The body was present, but the awareness was always in the future, trying to escape a financial problem that never resolved. And there, sitting, breathing, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: presence. In silence, the conscious mind quiets and the subconscious begins to speak, not with words, but with sensations. He realized he had repeated the same thought for years. Money is hard. Money doesn't stay. When it comes in, it goes away. And the subconscious obeyed faithfully. Because the mind does not argue, it executes. His financial life was just a delayed mental reflection. There, without music, without distractions, he understood something simple and profound. To manifest money, it was first necessary to reprogram the mind, not by forcing positive thoughts, but by creating space. Space for a new frequency, a new internal posture. Silence was not empty, it was fertile ground. He didn't know how to pray properly. He didn't use beautiful words. He didn't ask for wealth. He only said inwardly, "If there is something greater, teach me." It was simple, It was real, and something changed. Money did not fall from the sky, but a weight fell from his mind. The anxiety eased, the tightness in the chest loosened, the breath grew deeper. And in that almost invisible instant, the vibration changed, not by miracle, but by alignment. Because when the mind calms, the frequency rises. And when the frequency rises, the reality begins to reorganize itself. He didn't notice it at the time, but there, his financial life began to unlock. After that silence, he returned to his routine. Same job, same path, same external reality, but something was different. The mind no longer ran the way it used to. Thoughts came and went, and that changes everything. Because when the mind slows down, it stops sabotaging. He began to notice small signs, nothing mystical, nothing spectacular, but real. A clearer idea, a better decision, a no said at the right time, a yes said with awareness. Financial life doesn't change by luck, it changes by clarity. And clarity is a direct effect of an aligned mind. Without realizing it, he was living a mindset shift. He didn't study the law of attraction, he lived it. Calmer thoughts, less impulsive reactions, less fear, less comparison. And something curious happened. Money began to circulate differently. Not in large amounts, but in flow. An opportunity he would have ignored before. An invitation he would have refused out of fear. A conversation that opened a door. Because when vibration changes, the field responds. His mind shifted, his vibration changed, and his financial life started to unlock. It wasn't magic, it was energetic alignment. He realized that money doesn't like chaos, it responds to direction. One day, almost without thinking, he gave thanks. Not because everything was solved, but because something had changed inside. He thanked God, not as someone who asks, but as someone who recognizes. And gratitude did something silent and powerful. It stabilized the new frequency. The mind stopped oscillating, fear lost strength, scarcity stopped being the default thought. He began to notice, the more present he became, the less he thought about debt. The loans still existed, but they no longer controlled his mind. And when money stops controlling the mind begins to attract money. It was there, in that simple gesture, that his financial destiny began to realign. There was no big announcement, no explosion. Money began to respond in silence. An unexpected amount, a pending issue resolved, a chance to earn money that didn't exist before. Small to those looking from the outside, immense to someone who had been stuck. Because it wasn't just money, it was proof. Proof that financial life reacts when the mind stops fighting. Proof that flow exists when you stop blocking it. He realized something simple and definitive. Money does not move through desperation. It moves through internal coherence. And now, there was coherence. He wasn't rich yet, but he was no longer trapped. The difference? Before, money controlled the mind. Now, the mind directed money. He began to choose better, spend with awareness, refuse what drained his energy. His financial life began to open, not because he earned a lot, but because he stopped losing to himself. Fear diminished, clarity increased, and clarity attracts opportunities. He began to feel something new, confidence. And confidence is one of the strongest money magnets that exist. Without telling anyone, he continued, working in silence, praying in silence, thinking better, feeling better. And the curious thing is, the less he spoke, the more life responded. Money began to flow with less resistance. Financial life stopped getting stuck at every obstacle. Not because everything became easy, but because he became aligned. And when you align, the path opens. Your vibration changed, and your life opened financially. There is a very specific moment when nothing explodes on the outside, but everything has already been reorganized within. You keep going to the same places, talking to the same people, living the same routine, but something has changed. The mind is quieter, the body reacts less, the heart no longer races like before. And this creates a different presence. People can't quite explain it, they simply feel it. They feel that you are more grounded, more whole, more centered. And money notices this before anyone else. Because money doesn't connect with words, it connects with internal structure. Where there was once confusion, now there is order. Where there was urgency, now there is rhythm. Where there was fear, now there is direction. The invisible did the work first, and when the invisible changes, the visible begins to follow. Money does not respond to what you say you want, it responds to who you have become capable of sustaining. Before, every amount that came in carried tension, a constant feeling that it wasn't enough, that it would leave quickly, that something would go wrong. Now, no. Now, money comes in and finds space. Space in the mind, space in decisions, space in emotion. Because the mind that receives it is no longer at war. You begin to realize something important. Prosperity is not speed, it is stability. It is knowing how to wait, knowing how to say no, knowing how not to sabotage yourself. This is a wealth mindset. It is not wanting more money, it is being prepared for more money. Your mind shifted, your vibration changed, and your financial life responded without noise, without announcement, without rush. The old cycle did not end with fireworks, it ended with awareness. You realized that scarcity always began before the money ran out. It began in thought, in the anticipation of fear, in the anxiety to fix everything immediately. The debts still existed, the loans were still there, but something essential had changed. They no longer occupied the center of the mind. The emotional weight dissolved, and when emotional weight leaves, flow begins to reorganize. For the first time, you understand that money does not run from people with problems, it runs from people who live in desperation. And when desperation leaves the mind, financial life begins to breathe. Your life opened financially at the exact moment you stopped closing yourself internally. God did not appear as an immediate solution. He did not appear as an exaggerated promise. He appeared as alignment, a quiet sense of firmness, of continuity, of keep going even without applause. Keep praying, keep adjusting the mind, keep doing what is right when no one is watching. Prayer stopped being a request, it became presence. It became an internal habit, it became a point of balance. And this alignment began to change small choices, how to respond to fear, how to handle money, how to decide without haste. When you trust something greater, you stop acting on impulse, and money responds very well to those who act with awareness, with calm, with direction. That was how faith stopped being discourse and became posture. Money stopped being an emotional trigger. Before, any amount came accompanied by anxiety. Now, it came with awareness. You realized that you no longer needed to chase it in desperation. You only needed to sustain the correct internal posture. Money began to be seen as a tool, not as salvation, not as an enemy, not as a measure of personal worth. A tool to organize life, to create choices, to build financial freedom step by step. You began to earn money with more clarity, to spend with more intention, to save without fear of lack. And that changes everything. Because money respects those who respect it. It stays where there is balance. This is the true abundance mindset. Not excess, not ostentation, but flow. The more awareness, the more money finds space to stay. The greatest victory does not happen before an audience. It happens when you realize in silence that something inside you has finally rested. You wake up and no longer think immediately about bills. You lie down and no longer repeat numbers in your mind. Anxiety has diminished, the body has relaxed, the mind has slowed. Financial life has gained predictability, rhythm, stability. You understand that you did not win because you fought harder. You won because you stopped fighting yourself. You won because you became silent, because you observed, because you adjusted. This victory does not ask for applause, it asks for continuity, because now you know what sustains prosperity is not extreme effort, it is constant alignment. There comes a point when doubt disappears. You feel with clarity that your financial destiny has changed, not because everything became easy, but because you became someone capable of crossing phases, capable of sustaining money without fear, capable of making decisions without panic, capable of remaining firm when others retreat. Money begins to recognize you, to respond with less resistance, to flow with more naturality. Change your mindset, change your life. Because when the mind changes, the vibration changes. And when the vibration changes, financial reality reorganizes itself. You didn't change the world, you changed yourself. And that changed everything. Now, there is nothing left to prove, nothing to explain, nothing to convince. There is only a different internal state, calmer, steadier, more conscious. Pray, not as someone asking in desperation, but as someone recognizing alignment. Pray because you understood that the mind needs direction before reality can change form. Pray because silence organized your thoughts, because silence reorganized your emotions, because silence opened space within you. Take care of your mind, because the mind reaches before the body. The mind creates before matter. The mind sustains before money. Everything that now begins to flow in your financial life passed first through your consciousness, through the way you think, through the way you react, through the way you remain. Trust the invisible, because it was in the invisible that your new structure was built. While no one was watching, you were adjusting your mind. While no one noticed, you were silencing fear. While the world made noise, you were aligning yourself. And that is why now money responds differently. Not with urgency, not with chaos, but with coherence. When your vibration changes, money responds. When your internal posture matures, financial life reorganizes itself, not as an instant miracle, but as an inevitable consequence. The invisible works when you are silent. The invisible builds while you remain. The invisible prepares while you trust. And the impossible happens when you do not abandon the process. There may still be challenges, there may still be adjustments, but you are no longer the same. The mind is different. The heart is steady. The relationship with money has changed, and that changes everything. Because now, no matter what comes, you know how to sustain. Sustain choices, sustain decisions, sustain growth. This is the true victory. Not the one that makes noise, but the one that remains. Take a deep breath. Feel this moment. You don't need to run. You don't need to justify yourself. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Continue. Continue praying. Continue adjusting the mind. Continue respecting the process. Because when you align yourself, life responds. And when life responds, money follows.